lot of Roman emperors. Nearly 100 by some counts.
Even historians have a hard time telling apart which statue is which emperor.
To get you started, though, here's how to spot some of the top 6 most common emperors in our recurring segment, Which Caesar Do I Seize There?
Let's start with the granddaddy of them all, Julius Caesar. Julius has concerned papa brows and a wrinkle across the bridge of his nose, which can either look distinguished or mildly disgusted. Julius was bald, but he liked to hide it by combing his hair forward and wearing a laurel wreath based on the Greek god Apollo. He's clean-shaven and has a mouth that often curls down at the edges of his smile. There's cheekbones for days and a chin that forms a wide horizontal line beneath his lips. For all his fame and glory, he wasn't ruling very long, so he's always depicted in his 50s. His nephew, Augustus, turned him into a god, so some statues depict him as ageless, idealized, and naked. Roman rule of thumb, if an emperor is nude, he's probably supposed to be a god.
Next up, Augustus. When we think Roman emperor, this is who we actually mean. He had a long reign, so his depictions range from youthful glory to middle-aged. Being old was not in style, so he never gets past 50s in art. Biggest clue of how to spot him? Look for those adorable little forehead curls, 2 of them facing away from each other, just to the left of center on his forehead. Augustus has a small mouth and bigger ears than you'd expect. He's got 2 vertical brow wrinkles, regardless of age. This man was born concerned for the empire. The defined, straight brows kind of slant downward toward his ears, making his expression differ depending on the angle at which you view him. Also, set your chronological clock, because this is the guy who ruled over the year 0, splitting time in 2 between BCE and CE.
1, 2, skip a few, we've arrived at Caligula. Caligula was infamous for drinking a great deal of lead, losing his mind, and being the first emperor assassinated since Julius. His bust looks kind of like Prince Joffrey, and thus incredibly punchable. He's got a straight-cut hairline, young, with kind of curly sideburns coming in by his ears. His eyebrows cross into angry territory. If his neck seems a little wide or his head a little small, that's because the barrel-chested musculature is coming into vogue in Rome. The best way to convey this in a bust was to make you a pinhead.
Who's that Pokemon? It's Nero! Rome's jug-headed neckbeard. He's famous for generally being a murdering douchebag. The hair on his forehead tends to bulge out and then stick itself back to his brow in tight curls, like maybe he wore a sweatband while making fun of drunk girls at fraternity parties. Things really went south for Nero during the Great Fire of Rome. Legend has it that Nero was too busy fiddling while 2/3 of the city burned, turning him into a public enemy that had to run for the hills.
Skipping 30 years through the Flava Flavians, we arrive at Trajan. He's got a bit of an Alan Rickman face. With his hair cut short and his face cut long, he has a pronounced septum beneath a spectacular nose and an oval face broken up by significant frown lines. The hair is straight or slightly curved bowl cut, and the chin and cheekbones are understated. He is often carved in the same pose as Augustus's famous breastplate statue, but his head looks too small for it. If you know anything about Trajan's column, he's your guy.
Hairy Hadrian is easy to spot. He's the first of the emperors to rock a respectable beard. It's trimmed shorter than his extremely curly hair. Gotta be tough with the scruff. He's probably most famous for Hadrian's Wall, cutting off most of what is now Wales from those barbaric Scottish. He's generally seen in full armor, as he was especially proud of his conquest as a general. However, he is also depicted in the traditional flowy emperor clothes. Put him in a beanie and glasses, and he'd fit right in around Brooklyn.
There are so many other Roman emperors with faces worth recognizing.
Caracalla, Vespasian, Marcus Aurelius, not to mention the historic ladies, such as Agrippina, Claudia, Livia.
It's easier to recognize people when you know a little bit about their lives.
If you see a face that sticks out to you, do a little digging.
Thanks for watching, and remember to keep looking up.
And remember how the Roman Empire was cut in half. With a pair of Caesars!